Hello, I'm Sophie Scott. Welcome to HealthWatch. This week we look at the discrimination facing deaf and blind Australians and the ethics surrounding genetic tests. Deaf and blind Australians are calling for equal access to the country's cinema screens. They say the expansion of captioning and audio description into movie theatres is happening too slowly. Kirsten Vaness reports.
Deaf and blind Australians turned out across the country with a simple message.
100% access to all cinemas, all sections all around Australia. That's what we want.
Protest group Action on Cinema Access says fewer than 1% of movies screened in Australia have captions or audio descriptions. 16-year-old Miranda Reardon loves horror films but finds it difficult to understand what's happening without captions.
And I always feel left out when my friends talk about the movies we've just seen because I have no idea what's been going on.
Reno Spadea just wants to enjoy a movie with his 7-year-old daughter.
I want to be involved so that we can share what's going on in the movie and what's being said, so I miss out on a lot.
I'd like to see a lot more audio description. Surely when they make a movie, they should be able to put the audio description on it.
Today's demonstrations come after the major cinema chains asked for exemption from the Disability Discrimination Act for 2.5 years while they extend captioning and audio description services. In a joint submission to the Human Rights Commission, Hoyts, Greater Union, Village and Reading cinemas said they propose to increase the number of screens in cinemas operated by the applicants capable of delivering captions to 35 over the next 2.5 years. They would also provide audio description capability in all of those 35 screens, including a retrofit of the current 12 cinemas offering captioning. Protesters say those proposals are not nearly enough.
Only 4 million Australians missing out, but their family and friends want to go with them, so probably 8 to 10 million people are missing out as well.
The 4 cinema chains were unavailable for comment.
Some health insurance customers have been offered what seems like a good idea. For just over $500, they can find out whether they have the genes for illnesses such as diabetes and cancer. The insurance company involved says it won't have access to the information, but there are concerns about the legal and financial implications for people who are genetically predisposed to certain diseases. This is the letter that appeared in the mailboxes of 5,000 customers of NIB health insurance. It offers half-price genetic testing to assess people's risk of developing diabetes, obesity and some cancers. NIB Chief Mark Fitzgibbon took the test himself.
I had an elevated risk for prostate cancer, and one of the first things I did after receiving that report was go have a check with my local GP.
But privacy experts are concerned. Dr. Chris Barlow-Stewart says finding out you have the genes for a condition can have serious legal implications.
So you just send your DNA out of the country and you will then get a letter back in the mail or perhaps on the internet saying what your future health is supposedly supposed to be.
Once someone knows they have certain genes, that information must be disclosed when they apply for life insurance. Already in Australia, there have been cases of people facing discrimination once they revealed they had particular genes.
It might come totally out of the blue that you are at risk for a particular condition. And so this is probably going to be as much as a prize for you as it is for anybody else and the insurer.
NIB says the information is only shared between the genetics company and the patient, not the insurance company.
Well, I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that in 10 years' time it will be the standard that your GP will have this information and will rely on this information in helping you make better decisions about your health.
Genetics experts say while knowledge is power, controlling what happens to that information is the key. Also in health news this week is the issue of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. A large West Australian study found that patients on ADHD medication didn't perform better in schools or in social settings. Researchers also found that children on the medication had increased blood pressure even after they've stopped taking the drug. That's sure to increase the debate over whether or not medication is the answer. That's all for HealthWatch. See you next week.